Hello, everybody. This is the Winning in Winnipeg podcast, where I talk to top performing business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, and local Winnipeg celebrities. I get to learn who they are and how they think, and I get to hear their perspective about what's really going on in Winnipeg and their business. Today, we're happy to have the president of Treads by Design, Eric Beaudette. Treads by Design is one of Winnipeg's largest, if not the largest supplier of construction and custom staircases to most home builders in Winnipeg. They've been growing incredibly over the last few years, and under Eric's direction have been the biggest proponent of using computerized technology to ensure precise and accurate quality. Eric is a father, a husband, and the president of a construction company, the trifecta of insanity these days. We've had the pleasure of having them on site for most of our builds and continue to watch them grow their market share. There's so much more I could tell you about them, but I'm just going to let you tell them the rest. Bodie, nice to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you made it. You made it much earlier than I did.
Well, it happens. We're busy.
Yeah.
You're also a father and you own your own business, so you know what it's like.
It's ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the cool things about podcasts is what it can, like, people either, if they don't know you, what they're going to try to do is try to relate to you somehow. So
yeah,
what I really like about kind of hearing people's stories is that whether it's, whether people are at the start of their career, in the middle of their career, whether they've bought or built a business and exited or whatever, right? They can somehow relate if they're in the business world. So I really like that. So maybe let's get a little background on you. Take me through what it looked like coming out of school.
Basically, I guess I started at an early age, kind of wanting to own my own business. So at around 17, I graduated at 17 years old, and then made my way to Alberta. So from an early age, went to Jasper, started framing. So we framed the Jasper Park Lodge. I framed all over.
That's pretty iconic.
Yeah, I framed tons of stuff in Jasper, like in Banff, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, Drumheller. We did big projects in Calgary and throughout. And
big company, small company, like
it was maybe a 20-man crew, 30-man crew.
Yep.
And then within about a year, I was running big job sites. So I had around 10 guys that I was leading. And then I did that for about 3 years, and then decided to start my own framing company in Alberta. So I had crews in Alberta working all over. Yep. And after realized there's no place like home, and decided to come back. So started framing in Winnipeg, restarted with new crews, new guys, and did quite well, but never really liked the weather and the climate and all that. And I gave myself an exit strategy of what's next. And I gave myself 3 years. And within 3 years, I decided to pick stair manufacturing based on the fact that we were always waiting for stairs. And in Alberta, we had to build our own stairs. So that's kind of where Treads by Design sort of took off. And yeah, and the rest is kind of history, So
how did you exit the framing company?
Basically, I approached all the builders that I was currently framing for and asked if they would support my new business venture. And sure enough, they did. So we started off with, I probably had around 8 guys framing for me at full time, kind of kept that on the side. And I started with one guy, Treads by Design, and that kind of took off. And now we're 18 guys full time and looking for another, 4 or 5 guys to join our team. And Always. Yeah. That's been a struggle since COVID. It's just trying to find guys and manpower and
right.
Yeah. So
how did you guys manage through COVID?
We kept our doors open. There was a bit of a lull for the first 3 weeks where everyone was on edge and no one knew what was going. It felt like the end of the world was happening. And all of a sudden, what happened with the housing market. I mean, it kind of blew up, and at the end of the day, it kept us busy, kept my guys going, and we never felt a pinch. I mean, for us, our sales were better than ever. We weren't in the restaurant industry. We weren't in all these other industries that took the service that took a hit. So yeah, we thrived, and it's just, like I said, struggling manpower wise and finding more employees, and that's what it takes to make it to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take me through growing up. Was it like did you have entrepreneurial aspirations?
Yeah.
Did you find that you were doing stuff like that?
Well, my dad's a psychologist, so he's not much of a carpenter by trade.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll probably watch this and say he's right. I don't know if my dad knows how to read a measuring tape.
Fair.
My mom's a nurse. My great grandfather and my grandfather were both carpenters by trade.
Okay.
So they, that's where I think I got I never actually got to meet them. So that's kind of how it was growing up. The biggest thing about growing up for me is, I've always kind of wanted to be in the trade. I wasn't really studious. I'll be honest. I don't have a red seal carpentry experience. I felt like my parents were very smart and still are, that they put money aside for me to go to university, to take all these things. And for me, it wasn't my thing. And I wanted to prove to them that you can be successful without going to school. And I think that's one of the things that some people that can relate, right? So you just got to work hard at it. And then that's kind of what I did. So I proved to them that I was able to be successful without, going to university and taking some career. Yep. I just kind of made my own career throughout my journey.
What do you think is the biggest asset that you had, or the catalyst for
my success
for starting? Well, like you've started a few businesses, mm-hmm. and you've kept it going through mm-hmm. there, and you found your niche in this market. But it's actually quite a big thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's no big deal, because it kind of, I will say, came naturally to you, because it mm-hmm. seemed like that was really that was just what you did. But why do you think you were able to do that?
I think I never really wanted a paycheck. I've always wanted to make my own paychecks. Yep. I didn't want to make a salary. I think that if I worked hard, I could make a very good income. And so I think for me, the drive was to create my own destiny or create my own path. And that's kind of what I did throughout the years. Like I said, we're growing. Our sales have been 25% pretty much every year. Last year, I think our sales went up 38%. So this year we're up 15% from last year's sales. Mm-hmm. So I think we're constantly growing. It's just one key to my success isn't just my drive. I think I've always hired the right people. So to me, I've always hired people who knew more than me. I didn't want to be that guy to tell people what to do. I want people to tell me what to do, or people to guide other, people in better directions. So I think that was pretty much the key to my success throughout the year, whether it was, running framing crews where I would hire a guy and I would learn from that guy. And even to this day, I'll still learn from hiring a guy, a bottom guy that maybe, is sweeping the floor. He might show me if I sweep backwards, it'll catch more dust than pushing it forward. And it's little things like that I love to learn from others. And I think that created a bit of my success, is just feeding and grabbing what everyone else is throwing around at me and turning that into, better opportunities. It
doesn't hurt that you're personable and you can talk to people and, friendly and, mm-hmm. So was there ever was the aha moment where you kind of finally decided to go all in on something? Was that when did that come for the stairs? What did that look like?
I'm probably no different than you. I read a lot of books of successful people, and I know it sounds very cliche, but one of the things that made me realize was, you hear that saying, pay yourself first. As a business owner, I think you struggle for years and years and years by paying yourself whatever the amount is, 40,000, 60,000, 100,000. But when you get to that point where actually, what your paycheck is coming in and what you're paying yourself, I think it just grows from there. And I think that's what people forget. I have a lot of friends in the industry that, barely pay themselves because they don't want to pay much taxes. But at the end of the year, I'm not going to say the best thing to do is to pay taxes, but it means there's success to it, right? Yep. If you pay business taxes at the end of the year, GST, PST, and all this stuff, and to me, it shows a sign of success, So,
yep. Well, it's a clear indicator for sure.
Right? It bugs me how every year most of my friends are like, "Oh, guess how little I paid in taxes." you know, and I say, well, guess how much I paid in taxes? And they think it's the end of the, you know, they're blown away on they're saying, well, I can't believe how shitty your accountant is.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you know, we had just a really good financial year, right?
Surplus.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think, to answer your question is when not to say that aha moment, but when I started paying myself, like, it's just like, yeah, we can be profitable, but you inject so much money into your company that you kind of forget about who started it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a really tough one that even, you know, I've struggled with that too, as far as like you reinvest everything to the company, like this thing's going to work whether it wants to or not. Yeah. Paying yourself first has absolutely transformed a lot of the way that business owners and entrepreneurs and everyone kind of goes about it, who is rather almost starving themselves to make this thing
to try
work,
to succeed, right? Yeah.
Starting, yeah. Where did most of your clients come from? And how do you get them? How do they find you?
Yeah, most of our clients was word of mouth to start off.
Okay.
And then after that, we also do some branding. I'm sure you've seen our logos on our stairs throughout the city. And, you know, I
borrowed that idea because I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
Like
from me.
Yeah, 100%.
Where's my royalty fees here?
Well, we'll
work it out after this. Yeah.
Later, yeah. Why? I want that.
Yeah.
As far as like, why isn't my name on the wall or the floor, something like that, right? I love it.
Well, yeah. So it's one of those things where we have, you know, thousands of trades throughout Winnipeg, and they see our logo and people, they're walking up the stairs every day. And we got crews that call us, or people that call us and say, like, you guys are everywhere, you know? So it's, you know, branding's huge for us. So yeah, so
word of mouth. How about, do you guys have a marketing budget? Do you need to market?
No, we don't need to market right now. No, we are, no, we don't need to market right now. Would I love to pick up more work? Absolutely. You know, our biggest struggle, and I'll keep on saying that throughout this podcast, is just manpower. You know, like I would love to grow. We pay our guys great. We do group RSPs matching. I match 5%. We you know, have the benefits. We have flexible plans. We have flexible this. Like we you know, we're set up to treat our employees really well.
Yep.
I'd say 80% of my employees have been with me for 3 or 4 years minimum.
Yep.
And it's just that revolving door, or that 20% that we need to get that 20%. So for us for advertising and stuff, our product speaks for itself. You know, we got guys that, you know, will switch trades or switch this and start using us, and we don't lose clients. You know, we've kept, you know, guys for years. We've kept them happy. You know, my phone's always on. It's, you know, it's beside me right here. It's, you know, I'll be fishing on, you know, on some lake. I'll pick up my phone. Like it's just, that's what it is. A business owner. It's the grind, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Do you work only in Winnipeg and surrounding areas?
No, it's kind of, yeah. No, we work all over really. Yeah. This week we just sent a semi-load to Ottawa.
Really?
Yeah. And then 2 weeks ago we sent a semi-load to Vancouver Island. We'll do stuff in Vancouver. We'll do stuff in Ontario. We'll do some stuff in Saskatchewan. So we've sent stuff, you know, not say all over by any means, but just stuff all over Canada, throughout Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coast to coast.
Coast to coast. Yeah. Yeah. We do a lot of high end stuff, like for high end clients and builders, but we'll also do a lot of multi-families, a lot of big projects like that, like big commercial jobs that require multiple stairs.
Okay.
And I think we're probably one of the quickest in, you know, Manitoba for sure, let alone maybe Canada. And that's why they keep on using us, because we could pump out the volume versus, you know, we're not small potatoes when it comes to this stuff. So we have the proper staff in place, the proper equipment. Like I said, we have the CNCs that cut all of our stuff. So we got guys in the office drafting all day, making cut lists, and yeah.
Was that a huge change? When did you get the CNC?
You know what? That was the first thing we ended up getting when I first started Treads.
Okay.
I wanted to set the bar high, And we said, if we're going to do this, we're going to be the best at
And
it.
I'm guessing nobody at the time was.
No, I don't even know if I don't think anyone still does, you know, in Winnipeg. I think they've invented these saws that kind of cut sort of things, or they use skill saws. I'd like to think that we're probably the only ones that use that, you know, specifically for stairs and other components.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been great.
Radius cuts.
Yeah, radius cuts on arches for your projects, and you know, and it's funny because a lot of people don't realize, even though we might not be working on this project, indirectly we did do some work on it, whether it's not stairs related, but you know, we got another project that we're doing some other arches on, and so it's kind of that word of mouth where people say, "Hey, you got one of these machines that can, you know, can do whatever. Can we borrow it?" You know.
Yep.
So, and it's easier for a lot of the trades. Like, it just doesn't pay for a guy to take out a string line and go 25 feet and do a 25-foot arch and use a whatever they're using, a skill saw or a jigsaw. So for us, it's just we plop it on the table, start cutting things, and it works great.
Yeah. That's sweet. So, two-part question.
Okay.
What was the hardest part about starting a business? And what is the hardest part now?
The hardest part back then to start the company was just not having time to really do this stuff that regular people would do. You know what I mean? Whether it was, you know, watch an episode of Seinfeld.
Live your life.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Seinfeld. And people are like, what do you mean? It was, you know, this was the days of watching that stuff. So it's things like that, like you said, living your life. You know, I didn't have much time. You know, I always strive to be the best. And so I spent most of my time, you know, creating procedures or doing better things. And so that was probably the toughest thing. It had nothing really to do with financials for me, because I never wanted to be from 0 to 100. So for us, we started with 1 employee, then it was 2 employees, then it was 3 employees. And then you get to a point where, you're renting a little 2,000 square foot garage, and then you move up to we were fortunate because we moved to the country. So we picked up an acreage there with already a shop that was 13,000 square feet. Yeah. So we went from renting a shop to buying our own property, right? And so we had plenty of room. Our property taxes were less. The building was less. So I think the way we grew was, there's enough work in Winnipeg, in Canada, for everyone to get along. So to me, I didn't want to cut everyone's throat. I didn't want to, take over from the other guys, the other companies that we deal with. We have a great working relationship with a lot of the guys, the current stair builders in Winnipeg, that, like I said, there was more than enough work to get around. So for us, it was just trying to build relationship with other builders and trades. And I think we've done that well.
Well, I agree with you. You guys have done it really well.
Yeah. And then the second part of it was, what's our biggest struggles right now? Maybe. I mean, we talked about
what's the hardest part other than people, right?
Yeah. The hardest part is to kind of let go. Once you reach a certain level, it's just to trust the people you work with. We just hired a manager, great guy. He's been with me for 10 years. I've kind of groomed them throughout the years to kind of sort of take over. And we had this talk 4 years ago. So when he worked for me for 6 years, and it was always the plan, right? But I wasn't able to let go. I wasn't able to. And it's not that I didn't trust him. It's the biggest thing about it is you built this baby, through, your career, we've been in business, 12 years. That was my biggest struggle, is to finally let go. And this year was the first year where I was able to go on trips. First year in the summer where, we went to Vancouver, brought the family there. We rented a cottage on Lake of the Woods. Where I got trips planned throughout the year. So it's finally time to kind of enjoy what we've built throughout the years.
Have you watched any Seinfeld?
No, I haven't. Sorry, I haven't had time to even watch Seinfeld. Yeah. I think it's on Netflix.
It'll get there.
Yeah. That was just crazy how, going back to that Seinfeld episode, it was just funny because throughout my years, I just didn't have time to watch television. I didn't have time to do nothing. And, I worked. I worked 6 6 to 7 days, 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, I'm, key to my success is I actually lived with one of my bosses. So in the evenings, I was able to ask him questions, go through plans, read stuff. Nice. This is back in my framing days.
Yep. So
like I said, within a year, I was able to frame big projects, commercial jobs throughout Alberta. So I think that's, so if guys can relate, I hope they strive to be better, or they're willing to learn. It's not just showing up at 7 o'clock and clocking in at 5. It's, you gotta, you need commitment.
So how do you approach employees other than, cause you've had employees that, have been with you for a long time, 3 to 4 years for some of the bulk of them.
Yeah.
So that's really good in our industry.
Yeah. I'd say, 14 out of the 18 employees have been with me over 3 years, probably even 4 years. And then, yeah.
So how do you approach that? Like, is it a mentality? Is it, procedures that just allow them to know where they're going? Like, how do you look at when you're hiring someone new?
Like I kind of stated before, I think a lot of the positions that I put my guys into, I feel like, that they know more than me, you know what I mean, on a lot of these jobs. So I look for guys that,
so they have to have the experience.
They have to have a bit of experience, but I mean, we've groomed a lot of these guys from nothing to something, you know? And, I always think, and I don't know if this is the wrong approach, but I pay my guys well. And I've always thought that maybe that's a deterrent for them to leave because they know they're not going to make that much money somewhere else.
Okay, that's fair.
And that's one of the things that I do. And I give my guys a lot of freedoms, I think every morning I say hi to all my guys. I have this I have this way of just talking to them that I'm at their level. I'm not better than any of these guys. I wear regular clothes. I don't, show up there and think I'm better than them, and I think they kind of respect that out of me. So if you're asking me how to keep guys, I think I've done a decent job throughout the years. I haven't lost that many, like the key guys and the core guys that I've had for years. And I don't see in the foreseeable future them leaving. Right. So, yeah. I don't know. What's
something that you believe that goes against industry norm?
It's different now with COVID. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I would always tell my guys is there's no reason for us to, because I've realized throughout the years that I've missed a lot of weekends. I've missed a lot of opportunities. I'm not saying I don't have friends. I'm just saying that I've missed a lot of stuff based on the fact that I was away working. That I have
0 friends.
Yeah, yeah. But I always think that there's more to life than work, right? So it's one of those things where I encourage my guys to go out on the weekends. I encourage my guys to take time off. We all need mental break, right? Yep. And I think in this industry, people complain that, well, it's a nice day. Why aren't they working? Or, it was raining yesterday and it was Friday and no one showed up at work. And then today is Saturday and no one's working. So I think to me, that's maybe an industry norm.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. What do you think the pros and cons are of operating a business in Winnipeg?
The pros and cons is, like,
do you think it'd be different somewhere else?
No, I mean, the cost of living goes up in every city, right? So I think that, Winnipeg is known to be cheap. So they always say, if you can make it in Winnipeg, you can make it everywhere. Okay. One of the pros, I think, in Winnipeg is it's a small city. Word of mouth is huge. Yep. And if you have a good name, it doesn't take long for it to spread. Yep. If I lived in Toronto, I'm sure, who the hell's Treads by Design? No one would know who we are just because it's such a big city. Right. So that's one of the pro. One of the cons is the weather. Sorry. We have shit weather here. And everyone knows it. And we can't even sign an NHL player.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. It's a tough market. You know, so I think that's our biggest con right now. The people are friendly, usually.
Yep.
But things have changed.
Remember that sign? Well, maybe you don't remember that sign in The Simpsons.
Yeah, welcome to Winnipeg.
We were born here. What's your excuse?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you from? Winnipeg, small town.
Yeah. I was born in Moncton, New Brunswick.
Were you really?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and came back here, and then from grade 2 to grade 5, I was back in New Brunswick, and then in grade 5, moved back and grew up in a small town. Yeah. And then lived in the city.
Did you ever think about leaving?
Winnipeg, no. If it would, be because the kids are older and I'm ready to retire and a snowbird or something like that. Yeah. So I'm not really planning on leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
And neither of my kids, going to be out of the house soon. So I have an 11 and 13-year-old. So busy with hockey, busy with life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you balance? Do you think about life balance? Do you think about like the kids they've probably been in sports for quite a while or activities?
Yeah. Yeah. My kids are very active. One thing, when we moved to the country, I actually own 2 acres beside my property. And, so we moved there 6 years ago, built my place there. Yep. And then, based on the fact that I worked on our other property, which is on 5.5 acres. Okay. My wife said, well, you put the kids on the bus, you make sure you're home with them from the bus, right? Just because I live right beside my shop. And it took me probably 5 years to struggle with that one, because as a business owner, it was very tough to show up after the guys are at work and leave before them. Yep. And to me, I don't think I don't think anyone on their deathbed has ever said, I wish I would have worked more. Right. So it's one of those things where as a business owner, you struggle with all these little cliches and things like that, where it's tough. You know what I mean? So we made it work. Yep. Yeah.
Are you a routine guy?
No, I'm kind of a sporadic guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, I asked my wife if we can go to Vegas, and to go see Luke Bryan. Because she's always wanted to see Luke Bryan. And I just love doing these sporadic trips like her. So I think I'm not really that much of a routine guy. I'm more the type of guy that, we'll have a conversation at someone's cottage and it'll be 12 o'clock and things get kind of boring. So then I'll be the guy running on the dock, jumping in the water. I think there's more to life than having a strict routine. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't think, I'm not really that much of a routine guy.
Yeah. I always think that there's really never a right and wrong. Does it work for you or does it not?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
How much does your family impact? How much of your business do you bring into your family? As far as like your kids,
Yeah, I would say lots.
Yeah?
Yeah, lots. It's
they know a lot of it. Do you include them, yeah?
Yeah, I include them with a lot of things that I do. I think I'm a little bit like I said, it's tough because my phone's always been on my hip throughout the years. Yep. That, when someone calls during lunch or dinner or whatever it may be, I still pick up. And I know it drives my wife's nuts, but at the end of the day, it's made me an income and it's made us where we're at today. Yeah. It's built our name. And
you still have a wife?
I still have a wife.
So that's a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a wife. Yeah, they know quite a bit. And to me, I think what school doesn't educate your kids is how to manage money, right? Yep. And to me, I try to, get my kids involved in a lot of these, show them how to spend money, how to save money. And I think that's important. That's one of the most important things. Investing and all that stuff, right? Yep. Yeah. I feel like if I would have known to start investing at 18, I'd be retired 10 years ago.
Compound interest.
Exactly. So it's things like that it's funny because my kids had a school project, my oldest one, and it's like top 10 things you want to do and when you're an adult. And my kid is just funny because maybe I brainwashed him throughout the years, but he's like, I want to own my own business. I want to invest at a young age. I want to, and I'm just kind of like, who's this guy?
Who's kid?
I know. Who's this guy? And, but it's very important for me, you know, like, it blows my mind how many, you know, people can't manage money properly. Yeah. And it's just sad in this day and age. And if they would have had a little bit more guidance, you know, whether it was in school or whether it was from a friend or parents, I think it's, you know, a conversation that people should have.
Financial education in schools would
benefit.
Be a game changer.
Yeah, game changer for sure.
Like I think they teach you how to write a check.
I don't even know. I think they teach you how to write. I think that's about it.
Back in the day.
And what's a check these days?
I don't know. The kids will never know that.
Yeah.
So you said that you used to, or you still read a lot.
Yeah.
What are the biggest influences in your life? Is there a specific person? Is there a mentor, a book, a place?
Yeah. I'm not sure the biggest influence on my life. I don't know. I think I get pulled in every direction, right? Some people will say this, others will say that. And to me, it's, you know,
so you're kind of good at,
somewhat good at
things and putting them together.
You know, like I read The Automatic Millionaire. We'll talk about that guy. I think I read that one 8 years ago and I started automating my things. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you just kind of got used to it and you just made it work, right? And everything, you didn't have to, you know, it was just automatic. And to me, I was like, well, that was a, you know, valid point of the book. And maybe I didn't have to read the whole book. I could have just read the line.
Yeah, that's right. Huh, look at that.
Yeah, look at this. I hear $29. Nah, too much money.
I'm good.
Yeah, but it's like I said, you get pulled in these directions. So I don't think I really have any, I don't know. I never really got pulled. You know what I mean? Like I'm really close to my dad, which is great. But at the end of the day, you know, he's a psychologist and I'm a tradesperson, right? So I didn't have much in common in
or the president of a company.
Yeah, or the president of the company. Yeah. But no, at the end of the day, we had, you know, I love cars. He doesn't really like cars, you know, and I'm not saying that's a flaw by any means, but we have a great relationship. Mm-hmm. But I just, like I said, for great influence, I don't know. I think I get pulled in every direction. So, yeah. I know you're saying podcast, you could say whatever you want, but like, yeah, sorry, I don't have the right answer.
There is no right answer.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be people that legitimately are the exact same, right? Like there's no right answer. Would you, if you could do it again, go into construction again? Yeah,
I would definitely go into trades. That's one of the things that, coming from a small school, we didn't have any shop programs. We didn't have any, so trades wasn't even pushed. I just feel that the school system did a poor job on promoting trades. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, we were kind of the black sheep of the industry or whatever, of work. And at the end of the day, I think those are the people who are making the most. You know, I look at all my friends who either own a business or who are in, you know, who are teachers, and there's nothing against a teacher and all these other careers. They're great. And I'm jealous of that. One of my regrets is not going to school, even though I say I'm not a school guy. I wish I would have taken something, or I wish I would have. But at the end of the day, I think I did the right decision at the time. Because when I was 18, 19 years old, I, no different than any other 18-year-old, 19-year-old, we'd party lots and have fun. And I just didn't think at that state, I thought that if I went to university, I'd just be partying in university and wasting my parents' money. Yeah. And, but I look at my friends that I currently, I threw out hockey and, cause that's how you meet friends nowadays, is through your kids' hockey and sports and whatever. And the most successful people are business owners or people who run the trades or people, so it's crazy. Yeah.
If somebody was starting out, your top 3 kind of things for advice. So you mentioned financial literacy.
Yeah.
Investing early.
Yeah.
What's number 3 for someone that you would say coming into either owning a business or into the trades?
Yeah. I mean, I think a piece of advice is find something you love. I think that's probably the most important. I don't think there should be a financial reason or gain. Like, why hate what you know what I mean? Like, you gotta enjoy what you do. Yeah. You know,
I enjoy running
career
of hating it.
Exactly. If you hate it. The biggest thing about it is I enjoy being a business owner, whether it be in this or that, whether it was framing, whether it was in stairs, whether it's in something else, developing and or developments or whatever it may be, right? I think I just love learning new things, and eventually I'm sure there's something else on my horizon sooner than later, hopefully, right? Yeah.
What do you love most about Winnipeg?
What do I love most about Winnipeg?
Don't worry, we'll have the inverse as well.
No.
Although I'll save you with that. And we can just both agree on the weather.
Yeah. The thing I like the most about Winnipeg is it's still a small city. You know what I mean? It's easy to get around. We have tons of nice places to go. I mean, I'm sure every city does. Winnipeg's, like I said, it treated me well.
Yep.
And like I said before, I think if you could make it in Winnipeg, you can make it wherever. So I think it's a good starting point if you're wanting to open up a restaurant, you try it in Winnipeg. If you want to try a construction company, there's a reason why a lot of these companies throughout Canada come to Winnipeg and try to start something off, or they branch off into Winnipeg. Right. They want to see where that takes them. Right. Yeah. So
we used to say that in investment when way back in the day when we were flipping homes. It's like, if you could flip 10 homes here a year, you could flip 100, in other places in the States.
Yeah. Right? That's crazy.
So what do you wish that people knew about business or your business that most don't?
What do I wish people knew about, like running a business or just in general? To be like I said, to be successful, you just can't be lazy. So I think a lot of people tend to see what I have or what I do, and they're just jealous on the fact that, wow, Eric's got this, or Eric bought a brand new that. And I think people don't realize how hard I work, or how hard a business owner works if they want to succeed, right? Mm-hmm. You can't, you can't not answer your calls for a week and expect for that clientele to come back.
That's right.
So it's a struggle. You know what I mean? Every day is, like here we are, 8:45, we're 9 o'clock, we're doing a podcast where you're trying to promote your brand and what you've done, and you don't mind doing these things. And, tomorrow evening I have a meeting, so people don't realize, they just think it was that easy for him. It's not. Every day is a grind.
Yep. The roller coaster.
Yeah. It's
people always ask me because especially firefighters will ask me how it's going. And the answer is generally all the same. Well, yesterday was the worst day ever. Mm-hmm. The day before that was probably the best day ever.
I know.
And the day before that was probably the worst day ever.
Yeah. It's funny that you call it roller coaster. I just call it bipolar. And to me, it's that extreme. Yeah. And it's just even like, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this now. And I don't know why I'm saying it now. I actually declined you a few times.
Oh, did you?
Well, I'm declined you to come here to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And the reason why I declined is because I either have really good days or really bad days. And to me, I just mentally wasn't there.
Yep.
Where it just sucks the energy out of you. It sucks the emotion out of you. And I just wasn't ready, and I don't know if there's ever a good day. Sometimes you'll catch me on a great day where everything's good. And other days it's just, you're pulling out your hair, so that's why, and I should have said that beforehand, and because what it's like running a business. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, when you make commitments, you want to stick to them. But because we have that friendship, you and we've known each other for years, that I felt like, okay, I'm not ready for this. I'll let you know when I'm ready. And let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
anyone who made it through this winter and this spring, in construction, knows this has got to be the worst year in like 20 years.
Yeah. It's been tough. And like I said, I'm surprised our sales are up 15% from last year.
That's awesome.
Last year was a great year, and it was a struggle. Like it's tough. The amount of water and we've had, the amount of snow we've had in winter, the drastic temperature changes. It's been nuts.
But you were able to capitalize and you guys were ready for the influx.
Yeah.
Right. Which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Right. Too much work, if you're not ready, can absolutely ruin you. Yeah. We've set up our shop to handle more work. Yep. We had building tables, we built more, we've increased our fleet. Like we've bought vehicles, which took,
several months to get here. So we bought trailers. So we set ourselves up. It's just, we'd like to get everything, like all these trailers and trucks going, right? And to me, it's lack of in the labor force.
Well, there's always that. There's always that chicken or egg
Yeah.
battle, right? Do you prepare for the work before it's happening? Do you hire the people before you need them? Or do you wait till it happens? Because quite frankly, it's really tough to afford things before they actually happen.
Yeah.
Right. Take me through best job, worst job.
My best job ever?
Your best job ever, your worst job ever.
My best job ever.
We legitimately can bleep out names. We can do anything.
No. One of my best jobs ever, I would have to say, in '97 we had the flood. I worked for the green team. So we did flood cleanup crew. And I'm sure you did as well, probably. I think everyone did.
I wasn't here in '97.
Oh, you weren't here in '97. Where the hell were you?
Saskatoon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. So in the flood of '97, we just kind of cleaned up crews, right? Okay. We had a cleanup crew. So we would go to houses and clean up all the debris surrounding the flood area. And it was just fun. Great group of people. They're all like-minded, 15 at the time, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, all gathering. It was just a big party. Like, we just had so much fun working hard and cleaning people's properties, and people were so thankful. So for me, that was probably one of the most rewarding jobs. To say that the funnest job, I haven't had that many jobs. I created my own sort of destiny, right? With framing at a young age, from 17 years old, leaving. And
what about experiences in either framing or for stairs?
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Have you had any, really extravagant or crazy, designs or anything like that that you guys have had?
Yeah, we work on a lot of intricate designs. To me, it's kind of like landing those jobs across Canada. For me, was just a hoot, right? Yeah, crazy. Not many people know that.
So how did they find you? Like, was that word of mouth? Was that?
Well, we work with a lot of the builders that build condos, that like the developers.
Okay. Yeah.
So they all of a sudden start developing stuff in other places throughout Canada. And they really liked our service. They really liked our product. We worked well with the crews and the engineers and whoever they hired for architects.
Yep.
And they just didn't care.
Trust?
Yeah. They didn't care if the price was more than our competitor in Abbotsford or wherever it was, right? So to me, that was...
You're like the McDonald's of stairs.
Yeah.
They know what to expect.
Exactly.
Same every time.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it was... To me, it's stuff like that we land that doesn't happen often, and to me it just makes you realize, like, you know what, I do feel loved. You know what I mean? Versus people just using us because we're maybe a little bit cheaper, a little bit more.
That's right.
Yeah. So I would say that would be just a great experience, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to ask you now.
Okay.
You mentioned writing procedures.
What's that?
Writing procedures.
Yeah.
So take me through like processes, procedures. How did that come about? How did you know to do that?
Like procedures for?
In Treads by Design. So you had mentioned building and working on Treads by Design.
Yeah.
And, you enjoyed writing, how you guys do stuff. Because processes and procedures, I'm just like...
Yeah.
I'm
in awe by it or what?
I'm horrible at, like, my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when we talk about the book, like the EMMETT or, automating your business as far as like almost dumb it down so that, you could have a monkey right doing stuff and not having to think about it or specialize in stuff. That's not how my brain works. Yeah. Like, I'm just flow charts, diagrams, like that is not me by any means.
Well, like I was telling you before, it's just by hiring the right people or people that know more than you. And to me, when you're asking me about writing procedures, I kind of guide people in the right direction, and then they start, they have a different vision that I had no clue what they were. And then that's what takes you to the next step. Right. So I kind of have a lot of trust and in my employees. So I think that like I said, that's what made us grow, is just a great crew of guys and girls, you know?
Yep.
And yeah.
There's a phrase, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What's something, knowing coming on the podcast, that I should have asked you that I haven't asked you that you thought I was going to?
This is my first time doing a podcast, so you're
a podcast virgin.
Yes, exactly. So to me, I didn't know what to prepare. My wife was like, "Do you know what kind of questions?" And I said, "No, I don't. I'll just kind of wing it." I said, "I've known Dan for years," and I said, "It's we'll just spit out some stuff, and hopefully it turns out right."
Yeah,
yeah. So it's a great experience for sure. Yeah.
So you are, I would like, I wanted you on because I've always been, well, not only just happy with your service, like you were just the guy that I would go to, right?
Yeah.
And when I find people that it's just easy, and they do what they say they're going to do, and if there's a problem, you fix it, and you talk through it, right? Mm-hmm. I always thought that was normal. And it's not. No,
not normal.
So you guys stand out a ton in the industry. It doesn't surprise me about how much market share you have, how well you guys are doing. I'm really happy for you guys. I'm happy to have you on our sites. And I don't think you need to tell me for a fifth time that people and hiring people that know what they're doing, that are better at stuff than, that you don't have to teach them. I think that's a phenomenal lesson.
Yeah. I think that's, like I said, the key to my success is hiring those people,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that I'm your first podcast cherry popping.
Exactly.
And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Love to come back.
Thanks so much.
Alrighty.